Hello, YouTube community. It's Robert S., and welcome back to Robscure Music. Today's video is yet another Let's Get Physical, where I show you physical media. I did one recently. I'm doing this one actually because shortly after that video, I picked up a whole bunch of CDs. I was talking to my friend Sam St.John, who you may know as Americana Sam on YouTube, and I mentioned that I had bought something like 22 or 23 CDs, and he said, yeah, you should do a video. So I'm doing a video. As it turns out, there are actually 24 CDs that I bought. Now, a lot of these were from Savers, so they're $1.99. Others were from my somewhat local record store, Infinity Records. Anyone who watches Joe Mayo's channel knows Infinity Records, and they have a dollar section, and I kind of hit that one hard too. So I didn't spend a whole lot of money, but when you buy 24 CDs, it tends to add up a little bit. But let's get right into it. In no particular order, we'll start with George Thorogood. And this is the original George Thorogood with the original attitude. But it's not necessarily a greatest hits compilation. It doesn't have one bourbon, one scotch, one beer. But you do have Bad to the Bone, I Drink Alone, and some of the other classic George Thorogood good hits. I apologize for the glare. Can't really do much about that right now. Nina Revisited. This is Nina Simone. It's actually a tribute to her. So it's not actually Nina performing, but there are some artists here paying tribute to her. Nina, of course, being a popular 60s soul artist. You've got Lisa Simone, who's her daughter. Lauryn Hill. Who else is on here? Usher, Mary J. Blige. So that should be an interesting listen. I also picked up, and I feel like I have a compilation from this band already, but I haven't listened to it in a while. So for $1.99, The Best of Kansas. You're familiar with Kansas, or at least 3 of their songs. Point of No Return. What's it called? Carry On, Wayward Son, and Dust in the Wind, of course. All 3 of those on this CD. Then I picked up, and I don't have anything by this artist. I wasn't sure I would ever own anything by this artist. But I saw this, $1.99, and I thought, you know what? This might be one of her better albums. I know it's got a couple of her hits. Maybe not the biggest ones, but Adele, 21. You've got Rolling in the Deep, excuse me, Set Fire to the Rain, and Someone Like You are all on this. And I believe Jason, the old millennial, likes this album a lot and likes Adele. So after seeing his videos, I thought, sure, I'll try it. Next, we have somebody who I actually featured a song by her. Nana Mouskouri, Greek singer. I'm sure most of you are not familiar with her. This is Falling in Love Again. Great songs from the movies. You've got The Wind Beneath My Wings, Over the Rainbow, The Way We Were, As Time Goes By. Lots of other great songs on here. One of my favorites, Ava Cassidy. This is Imagine. Ava Cassidy is an artist that I came to know in around, I want to say, July 96, when she came out with an album called Live at Blues Alley. And I loved her voice. Unfortunately, by November, she had passed, I think it was cancer. In fact, I'm sure it was cancer. And that was in 96. They put together an album called Songbird with songs from the three previous studio albums that she had. And she started to become somewhat popular overseas, I think particularly in the UK. She did pick up a little bit of popularity in 2000 as a result of Songbird. I think they played it on the radio and people started to take some, acknowledge just how good of a singer Ava Cassidy was. And I kind of felt like, almost like this was sort of my secret artist, Then in 2002 in the Olympics, Michelle Kwan skated to Ava Cassidy's cover of Fields of Gold, the Sting song. And of course, everybody and their brother wanted to know Ava Cassidy. And honestly, I felt like she's mine. She's mine. You can't have her. But I'm glad for her popularity. I wish she had a longer life and was able to see it. But if you've never heard Ava Cassidy, do yourself a favor and listen, particularly to Live at Blues Alley. I love that one. Next, and I like all kinds of music, so here we go. Etta James, At Last. Now, that was one of her hits, obviously. You got that. Something's Got a Hold on Me. What else is on here? Push Over, Trusted Me, My Dearest Darling. Tell Mama, I'd Rather Go Blind. Etta James, classic. Speaking of classics, the essential Yolanda Adams. Yolanda is a gospel singer. I do like some gospel music. I mentioned Sam St. John before, so he's probably into gospel, or at least into Christian rock. Let's put it that way. She had a lot of hits on the gospel charts. Next, B.J. Thomas. Now, I have a little story to tell here. I do have a hits collection. This one actually looked better than what I have. When I was in Savers, it was just a few minutes before they closed. I went in there. I rushed through the CDs. You can take a look at all those songs on there. And it was a faux pas because I have, and Doc Doccus knows this, there's one thing you should always do when you're buying CDs. Make sure it's in there. So I paid $1.99 for an empty case. They got me. Next, Bruce Hornsby. And whoops, I probably should have taken the sticker off so you could see the songs on here. Not any particular popular hits on here. Certainly not along the lines of the way it is. That song he had. And but again, like this album, similar to the way it is, has very what would you call it? Socially aware, like socially conscious lyrics. And this, by the way, you'll see the cover here. This is sort of an image of sort of an imaginary musical pairing of two legends. Excuse me. You've got Bill Monroe, who is a bluegrass artist, and Charlie Parker, great jazz musician. And this is sort of indicative of the type of music that's included on here. At this time, Bruce Hornsby was kind of going off in, I wouldn't say a different direction, because it's honestly similar to sort of his roots. It was kind of jazzy, kind of country, bluegrass, but this actually combines them. So this is a very interesting listen. And for $1.99, I was happy to get that. Newsboys. I mentioned Christian rock before. Here we go. Newsboys are definitely Christian rock. Going Public is one of their albums. They have several. I think this might be the third one that I own. Second or third. Um, Another one of my favorite artists, Candy Staton. And this album called His Hands is one that she released in 2000, was it? 2000 and, oh, it's so small. 6 maybe. And this was, she was very popular in the late 60s, 70s. She had actually a disco hit with Young Hearts Run Free. You might know that song. But she has gospel roots and soul roots. And honestly, she, given the right situation, the right promotion, she could have actually given Aretha Franklin a run for her money back in the day. This album is sort of a return to classical soul music, but it's the 2000s, and she doesn't have the same voice. It's absolutely brilliant listen, but it's soft. She doesn't have she doesn't display the power that she had in some of her earlier music. But nevertheless, I was happy to get this. So I saw that on the shelf and said, yes, that's definitely coming home with me. Then we have Big and Rich, Greatest Hits, Country Music. And this is Big Kenny and John Rich. And I don't have any of their music, but for Greatest Hits at $1.99, why not? Now, I mentioned Sam St. John earlier today, in this video, and he was showing a bluegrass album that he got, and I mentioned in the comments that I thought I had something similar to that. Well, I took a look, and it's not. It has a sort of brownish cover, and the one he had was brown, but it's not the same. This is a bluegrass compilation that says, I can't really read that, but something Vaults, Volume 1. But a lot of great artists on here, including somebody I mentioned before, Bill Monroe. So Bill Monroe is on here. You've got Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. God, they're writing so small. Arthur Smith Trio, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys. The Delmore Brothers, Charlie Monroe's Boys, it looks like. But every now and then I like to listen to some bluegrass. Arista, the first 20 years. So you got, and I'll show you the track listing there. You can always pause this and read it if you'd like. But this has got like Carly Simon, Aretha Franklin, who I just mentioned a little while ago, Tony Braxton, Kenny G, Whitney Houston, TLC, The Real McCoy, Grateful Dead, Ace of Base, Brooks and Dunn, Dionne Warwick. And the Dionne Warwick actually is with Elton John, Gladys Knight, and Stevie Wonder. That's what friends are for. Another throwback to a classic artist of the past, Sarah Vaughan. More wonderful hits here. Art Garfunkel. I picked up a couple of his albums kind of recently. I had Breakaway for the longest time. And I picked up some other albums. I saw this one. This is with Maya Sharp and Buddy Mondlock. And I'm not really familiar with this, but I took a listen to it. And honestly, this is, well, first off, let me say that Art Garfunkel actually co-wrote many of the songs on here, which is a bit of a surprise. And they're good songs. And I'll try to show you that track listing without the glare, maybe. But again, kind of mellow. But as I listened to these, it was so reminiscent of Simon and Garfunkel songs, particularly those that Garfunkel sang on. And the melodies were just fantastic. And I really enjoyed this album. Next, we have Jewel. I've got, I think, most, if not all, of her albums, but I didn't have this one. This is actually a Christmas CD. It's Joy, a holiday collection. And yes, it's after the holidays now, but I don't know if you can see the songs on there. It's written in white, so I apologize for that. But you've got the classics, Joy to the World, Oh Holy Night, Silent Night, Winter Wonderland, O Little Town of Bethlehem, Ave Maria, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and all the classics we know and love with the voice of Jewel. And then I have 1958 collection, Rock and Roll, with, no, not the Fonz, but rather a faux Fonz on it. You've got some classic hit songs here. I didn't look at this too closely, so hopefully these are not like re-recordings or alternative versions or something, but you got Johnny B. Good by Chuck Berry, Summertime Blues, Eddie Cochran, It's Only Make Believe, Conway Twitty, Good Golly, Miss Molly, Little Richard, plenty of hits on here. Rebel Rouser, Dwayne Eddy, Little Star by the Elegants, Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry, Tequila by the Champs. So, nice collection. We're getting towards the end here. Nat King Cole, and I'm sure I've got a greatest hits type collection on vinyl. So now I've got a CD as well. This is the collector's series. And the usual suspects are on here. You've got For Sentimental Reasons, Straighten Up and Fly Right, Nature Boy, excuse me, Mona Lisa. Lots of good songs by Nat King Cole. If I Were a Carpenter, I've got all the Carpenter albums, but this one is actually a tribute to the Carpenters. Again, I probably should have taken the price off so I'm not covering up some of the artists there. But Karen Carpenter, still miss her. What a fantastic voice. And I like the Carpenters, so it'll be interesting to hear some of their songs done by others. Sonic Youth is on here, believe it or not. Sheryl Crow, Cracker, Four Non-Blondes. Then we have Olivia Newton-John, Back with a Heart. Yeah, Back with a Heart. And this is, I'm sorry, just looking at the cover. This has Precious Love. I think that was a bit of a hit for her. And it has I Honestly Love You, which she redid for this album. In fact, she did two different versions. She did the album version that was released for like the adult and the pop charts, and then she did a country version for the country charts. And this has a country flavor. It's kind of her going back to her country side, if you will. This album, I believe, came out in 2000s, no, or 1990s actually, if I'm not mistaken. And it was what she was listening to at the time. She was listening to country music. She liked the songs. She liked the harmonies. So she said, let's go back in the studio and put together something that's country. And this is songs written by some country artists, and nice to have that. Then we'll go to Roxette, Look Sharp. Roxette's another group that I know but don't have anything by them. And I saw this, and again, Savers, $1.99. And I think this is their second album, and while it doesn't necessarily have songs as big as their biggest hit, which of course I can't remember right now what the name of that is, but this does have The Look, Dangerous, Listen to Your Heart. So I was happy to get this. And finally, Little Texas, Greatest Hits. Again, not a group, honestly, that I'm even familiar with, but it's the greatest hits, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a listen, even though I don't know it. Got Peaceful, Easy Feeling. I'm assuming that's the Eagles song. And Life Goes On, Country Crazy. Some Guys Have All the Love. Curious if that's similar to Some Guys Have All the Luck, but I doubt it. But anyway, so that's it. So 24 CDs, I think that is, if I can count right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay well, friends, and remember, if the music strikes a chord, let it play.